Hi, welcome. This is Reverend Bud Heckman. I serve as the president of the Board of Governors of the Religion Communicators Council. We have regular webinars as part of what we offer to our members. Today we have featuring Kurt Gortney, who is the Senior Director of Seminary Relations for Phillips Theological Seminary in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He started his communications career quite young, serving as a disc jockey, radio disc jockey when he was 16 years old. Has had a video training center, communications minister at a local church, has served as a public radio news director and a communications director for the Red Cross, and other capacities before coming to Phillips Seminary. Last time we had a webinar, we featured Ryan Koch, who was showing us some of his tricks and tools that he uses on social media in general. These two presentations are somewhat tied together in terms of the content and flow of them. Today, Kurt's going to be talking about spending less time while posting more on social media, and specifically showing you a tool called Buffer, which is one of his favorite toys, and how it is that he uses it in order to be able to do more on less time. And we're very pleased to have him here today. Today's webinar is being recorded, and all of our webinars will appear on the website for Religion Communicators Council shortly after having been live. Welcome with us here today, and we'll be recording it and posting it. But your chat questions can help us when we go to the open section and have an opportunity to ask Kurt some questions. So as he's speaking, feel free to insert into the chat box some questions. If you're joining us just by phone, we'll try to open up the lines at the end so people can orally ask questions as well. Just as a brief reminder, I want to share with you that Religion Communicators Council is participating with other parties in hosting a one-day conference in Southern California at the University of Southern California on Friday, January 26th. It's called Reimagining Religion, New Stories, New Communities. This is an extension of some of the work that has been done previously at the University of Southern California's Center for Religion and Civic Culture. The lead on this is the School for Communications and Journalism, the Annenberg School, and a partner in the process is the Religion News Association. We're all working cooperatively together to host this conference on Friday, January 26th. The details about the conference are finally coming to shape and will be released in a matter of a few days. You'll be able to find out about that on the Religion Communicators website. That's religioncommunicators.org. In addition, we have our annual convention, April 5th through the 7th, 2018 at the Sheraton Atlanta. There's a lot of material that's up on that, and registration is already open for next year, as well as details about sponsorship, the hotel, and so forth. So please visit religioncommunicators.org and just simply look under convention. You'll see a lot of material about next year's convention, and then soon you'll hear about the special event that we have at the University of Southern California on Friday, January 26th of next year. So without further ado, Kurt.
Thank you, Bud. And I hope, do you have me on? Okay. I couldn't tell if I was on the screen or not. I'm still seeing mainly you. So anyway, welcome to my office. I am the Senior Director of Seminary Relations here at Phillips Theological Seminary in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I have to start off just by saying that I am a reluctant Facebook user. I'm a reluctant social media user in many ways, but the demands of the job require that I use it. I first started using Facebook when I was part of the Scripps leadership program from the Society of Professional Journalists, and they required that we join Facebook so we could interact in that process, and really didn't do much with it. Even as a public radio news director, I let another staff person mainly deal with Facebook. I've always been more of a Twitter guy, so used Twitter more often in the news area. But part of that reluctance, and the reason I bring that up, is I've been on the lookout for a tool for quite some time that would actually make it easier for me to use Facebook and other social media in my jobs as I kind of shifted from daily journalism into more of the media relations area, first at the the Eastern Oklahoma Red Cross as communications director and the senior director of communications there, and then as the senior director of seminary relations, which is similar communications marketing role here for the seminary. We're going to focus on Buffer today in terms of just the nuts and bolts of how it works and give you an idea of how it speeds up the process of posting to social media. But also want to talk about some of the others that you can use. In fact, Buffer has a really good, I'm going to flip over to a screen here in just a minute. But Buffer, besides providing a tool, I'm not getting paid to do this. I don't get any extra stuff from them for pushing their product. Besides the product being a good one that I like to use and it really fits my needs, the company also is very transparent. They actually post their Trello board that they have on the updates they're looking at doing and things they have in the queue and where they are. They actually publish their pay scales. They show what people get paid in the company. So they're very transparent. And they also actually have a review of 25 different social media management tools. They do put theirs first in the list, but I found their reviews to be really, really pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now so we can look at some of that. And here we have the page on Buffer. And I have a document, and I can share these links out later. I'm not sure how we do that here, but I haven't. But I tried to turn that file share on. Basically, they have theirs first, and they talk about the cost and how it works. And probably the one that people are really familiar with is Hootsuite, and I've used Hootsuite some. I have friends in other media areas that use Hootsuite and really like it. It's a really good tool. I found it personally a little more difficult to use and manage. It does provide some more analytics that are really good, and there's also they do a better job of measuring your kind of return on investment of your social media. So they're really good. Sprout Social is another one that I think that I've tried and used. Really considered it. One of the things it does is it actually, if you are more of a customer relation kind of activity more than communications, Sprout Social has some really great customer relation management tools that come with it. Agorapulse or AgroPulse, I'm not quite sure how they pronounce it. It has scheduling, responding, and reporting features, and it's decent. Probably one of the things it does that the others don't do is it has competitor analysis, which basically you can look at other like organizations and see how they're doing in relation to their social media compared to how you're doing with your social media. And it's kind of a way to check in and see how you're working. Like I said, we're going to send this link out. We'll provide it in some way or form, so you'll have a link to this and you could go through and look at all 25. But those top 4 are the ones that I've looked at most. I'll also have links to some other review sites that talk about the different social media management platforms. Anytime you have any questions, just type them up in the chat box and I'll take a look at those. Let me go now. Where did we go? Here we go. I'm looking for there we go. Screen, there we are. I'm going to come back to me here, and we're going to look at Buffer. And I wanted to explain a little bit our social media strategy here at the seminary that really made Buffer the best choice for us. We do a lot of curating of content. That's primarily what we do. We're a liberal progressive seminary in a very conservative part of the country in Northeast Oklahoma, and we wanted to provide quality information and news and opinion and commentary about things that mean a lot to us here at the seminary and fit our mission and vision. Things like social justice, things like progressive Christianity, biblical interpretation, and items that diversity and inclusion, interfaith work, those things that we're really committed to here that, you're just not going to find a lot of that news. I mean, you can find it, it's out there. And, and if you live in that world, you probably know where to go to get that. But there are a lot of people who don't live in that world, but may want to or may want to be exposed to those things. So that's why Buffer was really good for us, because it does have that, makes curating of content really easy. The other tools, depending on how you use your social media, you may find those to be more beneficial, again, depending on how you use your social media, how you create that. We kind of follow the 80-20 rule here, where 80% of our posts should be not about us, it should be about something else, about 20% about us and our programs and what we're doing. So just want to get a little bit of context before we go. So Buffer works online. It's one of those cloud kind of things. It's not an app you download on your system. Excuse me. It's not an app you download on your system. It works in the cloud. So you set up an account and you log in, and we're going to go to Buffer right now. And maybe we will. Sorry about that. Switch first. There we go. And all right. So this is Buffer in Google Chrome browser, and basically you create your account just like you would in a lot of things. Ask, give them your credit card, sign up. You can try it free. In fact, almost all of the ones that I mentioned earlier provide a trial for a couple of weeks or so you can try them out and really see if they work for you and the way you use social media. So the key is adding your social media accounts. That's the first thing you're going to have to do. So you get, with the level account we have, which is a small business plan, you can have 25 different social accounts. Now, that doesn't mean that you can have, only one Facebook account, only one Twitter account. You could have 5 Facebook accounts. You could have 20 Twitter accounts and have your 25. Why that's helpful is if you are managing social media for more than one organization or group, it's really nice to have your different Facebook accounts in this one interface, so you can address exactly what you need without having to, log in different Facebook accounts, click on the windows and mess around with all that. You can see, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram are all built in. There are some others. In fact, Hootsuite integrates with even more social media. That's one of its strengths. So here's where you create your account. The other thing we can do is we can have, in this account, can have up to 5 team members. For example, I had a new assistant start yesterday. Yay, finally some help. And his name's Joseph. And I added Joseph as a team member. Gary Cook on here, he's our IT director, and I always include him on any of the things I have, so he knows what's going on with that. And we're going to show how team members work here in just a little bit. So setting up the account really is pretty easy. You do need to have your logins and passwords to do that. And here you can see the social media accounts that I have right now. The top one is actually an organization that I'm currently on the board of and work with and do communications for them, which is the Oklahoma Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice. And it's really nice to have, again, this within Buffer. So when I find information or find content that we want to share on our Facebook page of that organization, it's easy for me to do. Another one, Society of Professional Journalists of Oklahoma. I'm the past president of that group, former board member of that group, and they still like me to do the Facebook stuff. So I do that. But you can set up all your accounts here, and it's very, very easy to use. All right. So any questions about that part so far? Looking at the chat, I don't see any chat stuff so far. Okay.
There was a question, Kurt, which was,
yep.
How many accounts can you have on the free version of the account? You have a business plan that's so many dollars per year, but what comes with the basic level free plan?
It's basically it's one. So
The
yeah.
enticement is, so you could do your own individual or for one institution with a couple of different things on it. But if you were trying to coordinate several levels of things, you'd have to purchase one of the plans for Buffer.
Right, and I'll bring up the pricing plans in a bit, and we'll look at those so you can kind of see where they make it very clear. Like I said, again, they're very transparent, which is one of the things I really like about them.
Yeah, and the question was from Adrian Graham. He's asking one platform or one option per platform?
One, not sure. And
can you have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or only one instance of each one, or what have you?
No, you can have as many instances of each one as you want.
With the business plan, or
with the business plan.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go ahead and actually look at their plan. And fit right away. Also, today of all days, our Cox, we are actually on our backup internet connection because Cox Communications is having a system-wide problem in Northeast Oklahoma. Of course, today, right?
Keep your questions coming in the chat box, and we'll pose them at the end or as it may be interject.
Yeah, let me just get the plans and pricing up here, and let me share this screen instead here. Hang on. So I'm going to stop that one and share a different screen so you can see the pricing plan here. Where are we? I have too many screens. Here we go. Free plan, like I said, it's one social account per network. And you can have, one Twitter, one Facebook, one LinkedIn, but you only have one of each. The $10 a month plan, you get 10 social accounts. You can't do teams, and your posts are limited. The small business plan, we have 25 accounts, 5 team members, 2,000 scheduled posts. And that's working great for us right now. If you're a nonprofit, Buffer does offer half price off of these rates. So if you prove you're a nonprofit, they'll give you a half price off. It's very easy to send them an email. And they asked for a little documentation. It wasn't hard at all. And they gave us the half price rate. So again, those are the basic thing to our desktop 2. Oops, I forget. I always have to switch before I do that. Now we got it. Okay. So you basically have 3 tabs across. Once you have all your social accounts set up on the left-hand side of the screen, you can just click on those, and you can see what you have in your queue for the content. And that's just keep an eye on things for how they're coming up. There's also a way to view this where you can see it in a calendar view. Here's list currently. If you click calendar view, you can see where things are scheduled. This is for our primary Facebook feed. And I have set up a schedule for queues based on some variety of information I've read about when are good times to post on Facebook, also based on analytics of our audience when they seem to be around and want to see things, and the number of times that we post. And you can tell it actually varies by day of the week even, because what I've read is there are some days that are more active than others. Weekends are different as well. And if you want to move these to a different time or something, it's this easy. I can say, oh, I want that to be at 9:25 instead of 7:40. In this case, I don't. Or I want to move that over to Wednesday. It's really that easy to move those. And when you hover, let me hover over this one, you can see it better. When you hover over it, it shows you what your post is. And this is especially helpful if you are working with more than one person on your team, and you remember that, oh, I approved a post from from Bud on, last week sometime that we wanted to come up on Thursday, but I can't remember what that was. So you can just look at it here and see it. You can also, share it right now. So if something comes up, you can share now anytime you post. So that's the calendar view. And you can also even, look at your view for the month. And you can see I have stuff planned out through the 16th. And again, it's because we curate, that's actually a little bit easier than if you're doing all original stuff. But it also does allow you to work an editorial plan. So you have your editorial plan and what you're doing in Facebook, social media, what you need to be promoting, and you can go ahead and schedule the stuff out way ahead of time, and then see it. And I'm one of those people. I have to see my stuff. That's just. And you saw my office behind me in the the shot when I'm live on the screen, and you can tell I have to see my stuff because I have stuff everywhere. So anyway.
Do you repeat posts at different times during the course of the day? And do you have a limit on the number of posts that you might make on a certain platform, like say no more than 3 or 5 to Facebook in the course of the day?
Yeah, we follow, again, I try to keep up on the reading and what people are saying about Facebook. In fact, I did edit our schedule significantly about 2 weeks ago based on some new information I was reading about research. Typically, we were doing 2 or 3 a day. Started doing 3 a day, kind of went down to 2 a day. And then now I'll actually show you our schedule under settings. You have a posting schedule. And this is based on the research and our audience. These were the times and days that I was switched to, which is a little different than what we'd had before. Which is, Thursday is a heavier traffic day, and they recommended posting more, so I added a midday post. Did not do I was posting a Friday late in the day, early evening, late evening post, depending. And what I've found and read was that's not a very good time. So, and it made sense to me too. So I moved that to a 3:15. And then on the weekends, we typically post at these times, and it's weekend. Haven't gotten a lot of numbers that indicate good, bad, right, or wrong on those, to be honest. But those seem to do pretty good overall. And so you can make and you also set your time zone, so it'll post in your time zone, wherever where based on your time zone. And it's really easy to use. Just add a posting time. If you want to do one every day, you just every day, or if you want to do weekdays, weekends, individual days of the week, you just click, choose your time, and then once you have your time set, click add posting time, and it populates it. And that's been very freeing for me, because when I was using Facebook, going into Facebook and posting and scheduling, you had to go through and set the time every time. I mean, you can schedule ahead in Facebook. It's free. And if you have time, or an intern, or somebody, that's great. But with this tool and most of the other tools, you don't have to think about it. Once you set up your schedule, your content just goes. All right. So
we do have additional questions related to this. What are the resources that you're looking at that help you to determine what to be doing with social media? What resources are helping to inform you about your posting plan, for example? Maybe random finds, and maybe like there's certain go-tos.
I think that's a different webinar. Because oh gosh, I have a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm on, I can't tell you how many lists I'm on and how many things that come through, and I try to glance at them from time to time. One of the things I do, I check in frequently though, are and this is the seminary's Facebook page, is I go to our insights, and I just make sure that I'm looking to see how we're doing overall, and how our, when people are looking at our stuff. I also, compare us to others. We do pretty well in terms of engagement, which is what you want to look at. With we have 2,200 people who like our page, which is a lot less than some of the others, but we really do well overall on engagement. I'm trying to find. I have gotten so used to using Buffer. I'm not as good at finding my stuff in Facebook anymore because I use their analytics. So let's go back over here. So they do have analytics. So if you want to look at your post in terms of what's working, they make it easy. You can see the most popular, most likes, comments, clicks, shares, and as Ryan shared, talked about last week, really it's the shares and clicks. It's not the reach that you want. You want reach is cars driving by. It's not necessarily people who are engaging with your content. And you talked about reusing or reposting. If you find something that's catching on, that you saw that you posted a week or so ago or whatever, you can just click the rebuffer and it'll put it back in the queue. Put out there again. This morning, the news came out on the federal judge striking down the tax-free housing for clergy, which was not in my queue. That's new news. And so I posted that, immediately, shared now, because I knew that would be of interest to a great deal of our audience, being a seminary who trains clergy and had a lot of clergy followers. And you can tell it's doing pretty good. 62 clicks, 3 shares. That's really good. And I know I'm not going to answer the question about resources, and I can come up with some of. I can go back and I'll look through the ones I use most of the time and put those together. I just wasn't prepared for that today. Okay, so let's go back to the content tab. And again, you see I have 13 items in my queue for Facebook. I have 6, and we have 2 different Twitter feeds, Phillips Theo Sem, and then we have one called Where Faith Leads, because our tagline is Where Faith Leads, and we also have the web address wherefaithleads.com. If you go to that, it directs you to our website. But and Twitter works on a different schedule than Facebook, just in terms of what people are looking at, what they're doing. And you can set up your schedules, are different for Twitter versus Facebook. And again, there are resources that can help you do that. And you typically posting on Twitter more frequently is okay, just because the way it works. And you can see I've got 3 a day on weekdays and 2 on weekends. So it posts more often. And our Where Faith Leads, I've set that up a little differently for a couple of reasons. One, I don't post everything to every place all the time, but I'm also doing a little bit of A/B testing, which that's where you set up a schedule one way for one thing, and then a different way for another, and compare and see how your results are. So, and I don't have enough. I'm not finding a big difference. Let's put it that way. But okay, so going back to content again. So how do you get content? Where do you find things? How do you do things? Well, that's what you do all the time as a communicator, right? You can just click in here and type your Facebook post you want to have online. He says with big fingers. Easy to do. You can add a photo or video. It's very easy to use. You can drag and drop. You can also click and it'll upload the picture, give you that option. At this point, you can add it to the queue And what that means is that this post will get in line at the back of the line for everything else that's already in the queue. So it goes to the back of the line if you click add to queue, and then shows up at the appointed time by your schedule. By clicking on the down arrow, you also can share next, which puts it at the front of the line for your schedule, which is helpful. In fact, I will be doing that today. Our seminary president does a weekly blog that we post on Tuesday evenings. I go ahead and fill that space with something else, but when I get his blog on Tuesday evening, I got it this afternoon, I'll edit it, put it on our website, and then post it to Facebook to go online this evening. Share now means share now. That's going to go immediately onto your social media feed. Schedule post, this lets you set when you want it to appear. So let's say that you want to have something on Thanksgiving morning. So we're going to click the 23rd, and we're going to go 10 a.m. and we're going to click schedule. Then this post would show up at 10 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. So it's really good for those kind of items. You have a special event coming on, or there's a special holiday or whatever that you want to share a very specific message at a very specific date and time. Set it and forget it. It's really easy. You can also select, if you look up here, the only one that's active right now is the seminary's Facebook account. But we could add this to Twitter if we wanted to. We could add it to Instagram, Google+, LinkedIn, my own personal Twitter account. So it's to share it to multiple social media platforms is just as simple as clicking and deciding what you want to do. So I'm going to not do anything with this one. So I just clicked off of it and it's gone. So now let's say that I need to post about the wonderful Religion Communicators Council. It's giving me difficulty right here. Come on. Oh, sorry. There we go. I want to post about the Religion Communicators Council convention. So I'm going to click, go to their website, and we're working on a new web design. Just I'm on the board of governors. We're working on a new web design, but oh my goodness, the Religion Communicators, they don't have a share on Facebook button. They should have that, but we don't yet. However, what I can do is I can share this on Buffer through an extension. So first I'm going to find some information about this. What do I want? I want to talk about sponsorships. So I'm just going to highlight some text I'm going to copy. I'm going to do Command or Control C and copy that. Then I've got a little extension for Buffer right up here. Click on that. Buffer opens up. It's ready to go for Twitter. Facebook, because it's Facebook, requires you to put some text here, which is why I copied. So I just pasted the information. And you can edit here. Change pictures, upload new pictures, whatever.
So Kurt, one of the questions that came in from Terry in the meantime was, does the post look different when you're posting from Buffer rather than posting directly to Facebook? Is there any variation in the look or feel of it?
There is one difference, and we'll show that. That's a great question, and I was going to get to that, but we'll show that. I'll go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and actually add this to the seminary's Facebook queue. I'm not going to put it out on Twitter. And we'll go in, and we're going to delete it from there. It won't be up very long. So I'm going to go ahead and do share now. And it goes to the thing, says, great, the post has been shared. Now we go to the seminary's Facebook page, and you'll see it. Scroll down here. Facebook makes you get through all these things. And there it is. Now, the difference is this. Published by Buffer. A lot of the social media management tools will do that. And when I was researching what we were going to do at the seminary, there were a variety of opinions on whether that mattered or not. The preponderance of what people were saying was that it doesn't matter, that the average user doesn't see that, doesn't pay attention to it. And otherwise, it looks just like you would post something on Facebook. And you have full control over it in Facebook, which is one reason why I wanted to demonstrate it this way. So now I can actually delete this from the page, hide it, do whatever like you normally would with Facebook. So delete that from the page, and it's just the way it is. And you can see, this is the post I talked about sharing this morning about the clergy housing tax case, and see the other posts we've done recently. They are really, Buffer is really good about getting images from web. I've had trouble with that with Facebook. I don't know if you've experienced that. But when I was just scheduling stuff with Facebook, I would have a hard time with that. And we can actually, I should be able to demonstrate that. That window keeps making it difficult for me to see what I think. So hey, let's just try it. We're going to copy that link to the RCC website conference page, and I'm going to go back to the top, and we'll just paste this. And see, it didn't capture the image from the RCC website. Buffer did. And if you've looked at Facebook stuff, the conventional wisdom, and I believe it, is that posts with images or video attract more attention than plain text one like this. So Buffer does a really good job of bringing in the images for you automatically.
That's a great feature. We have a question from Greg, or comment from Greg Nelson, which is the posted by message only shows up to other admins and editors of the page, not to the public. I didn't know that to be true, because I thought I had seen it before when I received certain things that come across on my Facebook page. We have a question from ASCC.com, which is, so does the posting schedule only work with the quote-unquote add to queue choice and not the drop-down choices then? Does the posting schedule only work when you use the add to queue method, or is it not also the drop-down choices? That's from the earlier demonstration we were doing, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I get the question. So
I believe it works both ways. You were demonstrating the one, as I think.
Yeah, because you can. Yeah, I'm still not sure I'm understanding the difference. I'm being a little dense here. Yeah, you can, when you post whatever you post, whether it's something like this where you're typing it in, you can add it to the queue, share next, share now, or schedule it whenever you want. And that's everything you do here. And it also works the other way, which may be what the question is. Now, okay, I think I'm getting it now.
The other way,
yeah. So if we do here, like we did earlier, I get the same options.
Okay.
And I also have a default setup of groups. You can actually create groups for your social media posting. So I've created these groups. So as a default, most of the time I want Facebook and our 2 Twitter feeds to get this information. And it's also nice that Buffer, depending on how the websites are set up, that your copying and pasting and doing this stuff from, will automatically provide a Twitter-friendly post, by shortening. So, and again, the RCC website isn't as as robust about that as some others. For example, if I go to the seminary website, and this is a conference we have every year, and I find some text, copy it, and then do the buffer, it automatically populates the seminary's logo and gives us some text here, but it also provided the shorten it for Twitter. Now this isn't great for Twitter, so I'd probably go in here, and just editing is very easy. Just click on it. Whatever you're going to type. And again, you have the options: adding to the queue, share next, share now, or schedule at some other time. And if you don't want it to go on Twitter, you just click off of it, and you're ready to go. Okay.
The automatic addition of the pictures is a nice feature. We have another question from Terry, which was, does Buffer publish to Pinterest? That's been an issue with Hootsuite. It uses a third party called Tailwind, which also costs money. Maybe that's changed. But is there a difference with Buffer with regard to Pinterest? Or is it simply that you're not using it for what you're doing, but it actually does allow Pinterest without additional cost or a third party?
It does add Pinterest. It does have Pinterest, right? And it's here. I'm not using Pinterest for the seminary at this time, but you can authorize the app. And the nice thing, Buffer also is, again, I love their transparency. Now, they tell you exactly what it will do. It's going to see all your pins and boards, create new pins, see comments, and change things. So yeah, it will do that. And there's another tool I'm going to show you that is actually kind of nice in that way, especially for Pinterest and Instagram. I'll show you that here in just a minute. Okay, so one of the things that's really nice is the team approach, and I'm just implementing that here at the seminary now with my new assistant Joseph, who started yesterday. And I told him, I said, hey, put something in the queue for me, and he kind of looked at me like what? I said, well, it's surprise me. So if you look here, it says awaiting approval, and there's just one there, and this is for the Facebook feed. So I click on it. Well, I'm probably not going to post the Ultimate Funny Dogs compilation by Fail Army, because that's not what we do. we don't, while fun dog videos may make everybody happy, that's not what we are going to do. So I can delete this, edit it, move it to a drafts folder so that it's there for more work, or I can just approve it. So if you have a team of people, working on an account, then the team leader can, quickly go through here, and they can make good suggestions. And Joseph was being funny. He told me, he said, I'm going to send you cat and dog videos. I said, okay. But in this case, I'm going to delete it. And then it asked me to confirm the deletion. And same thing with the Twitter. He sent a Twitter one, which I'm going to look at it real quick just to make sure it's okay, because I think it'd be fun to share something fun on Twitter. Every once in a while you need to do something silly on Twitter. So I'm going to go ahead and approve that. And it's approved, and there it goes. So now if we look in the queue, we'll see that the these little kittens will brighten your day has been put at the bottom of our queue. So again, working with teams, it makes it much easier than trying to. The difficulty is, how do you manage other people posting when you've really worked hard to create a particular look and feel and style, a theme for your work on social media. And so anyway, that's what I just find that very helpful. I've had different people for different projects, our stewardship development office, I've had them on when as needed. If they're in a campaign, they're doing stuff, I can add them, then take them back off whenever that kind of time's gone. Do that. So very good. Drafts, I don't have any drafts right now, but you can create drafts. So if you're working on your own content in particular, you can build a post very easily. Just click and go. Content inbox. This is another feature, especially if you're curating or your organization has particular interest, or you are working with a variety of organizations that you want to help promote. You can basically add RSS feeds and they show up in this content inbox. For example, you can see Unsystematic Theology, Pew Research Center, NPR's religion feed. This is the Oklahoma newspaper. This is the Tulsa World, their religion pages. Acts of Faith from Washington Post. Another Pew. This is the Center for Religion and Public Life Project. GLAD Alliance is the welcoming and affirming part of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. RMN, similar organization for United Methodists. We're affiliated with the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, so follow some of their things too. And you can, if you just want to see what's in that feed for that organization, you click, and now you're just seeing, okay, here's what the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, what they have in their RSS feed right now. I'm going to click on this one, Peace in the Midst of the Storm. Now that looks like that might be interesting. What is that? Oh, yeah, submitted by Global Ministries, October 4th. I've actually already shared this. But if you want to post that, it's just a matter of coming to Twitter, into Buffer, and you click Add, and it'll add it to the queue. So it's a nice way if you are used to promoting information from other groups or organizations. It's an easy way to, keep track, and they don't have any feeds. That means probably their RSS feed's broken, which is a whole nother issue. But, Pew Research, I post their stuff frequently. And they're, good, reliable source. And so you can find content that really meets our audience needs without having to remember to check the Pew Research Center, or they send the email. I get their email. It's like, okay, I saw the email, but I'm in the middle of something, and I forget just because it falls down on my email list. But this way you can easily find the content your audience would like. Adding and removing feeds is easy too. Since RMN's not working right now, I'm just going to remove it. You just find the RSS link, copy it and paste it here, and you're ready to go. But it's nice. Any questions, Bud? Are we good to move on?
Good to move on. No new questions yet.
All right. We looked briefly at the analytics, and Facebook has its own analytics. There are other programs that can do analytics, and analytics is not the strongest part of Buffer. I think it's really good. It's getting better. You can look at 30 days, 90 days, custom range, and again, you can look at your least popular. If we look at the least reach, there are things that, wow, look, the RCC didn't get anything. Well, of course, we deleted that one, so that's why it showed up there. That's interesting. This is showing up as a top post, even though, it's because the reach. I did least reach because it hasn't had as much reach yet. But anyway, and you can look at also the posts in terms like retweets, like how your image posts doing, video posts. Here's 3 video posts we've had in the last 30 days. And you can, again, see how your posts are doing by type of content, which can also provide some help in terms of knowing what you're doing and what's working and what's not. You can also export that file. It exports as a CSV file that you can then, open up in Excel or your favorite spreadsheet application, and it gives you the data. I don't know if that'll. So you can, whatever that report was you did, and it shows you the post information and likes, comments, clicks, shares, potential. So you can run your own data analysis depending on what you need. But it's really nice, and it's all in one place, so I like that.
So Kurt, we have a question, which is, do you use Buffer for social interaction aspects of social media, such as following other Twitter or Facebook pages or responding to comments on your post? Or do you log into each platform individually for that?
Right. Twitter does not do that. There are others that do. In fact, Twitter does have, Buffer does have another program called Buffer Reply that does allow for that, and it's targeted primarily at companies wanting to engage their customers who may be like, hey, the product I bought from you blew up Tuesday when I plugged it in. You guys are awful, and you can track that, reply to it, and it also tracks who's replying to it in your company. So Buffer does have that kind of service. Some of the other social media applications also have that. It tends to be expensive, just as I've looked around, and I haven't. And we don't get that much traffic that way too. So just to be honest, I haven't done a lot of research in that. But there are other social media tools that do that. So if that's important, I would say Buffer would not be your number one tool. You're probably going to want to look at something that does have that built in, or something you're going to have to add on.
Am I to understand then from what you've said, for the volume you have and the types of responses you have to do at your job situation, you're actually logging into some of the platforms individually to do that on an occasional basis,
right?
In addition to using the Buffer tool to basically post out?
Yeah, Buffer's more publishing and analytics for us, and we haven't had the need to purchase the Buffer Reply. I typically use TweetDeck to keep track of things on Twitter. And TweetDeck's free and awesome. If you're really into Twitter, TweetDeck, awesome, easy to use, multiple accounts, very, very good tool, and very reliable. And then you can engage in that way. One of the viewers mentioned Pinterest, sorry, and Buffer does have a tool called Pablo that is free, that if you have an account with Buffer, I don't think you need an account with Buffer, actually. I think you can just use it. It's pablo.buffer.com. But they have some stock images and things that you can use, but you can also upload your own image. For example, I uploaded this image of our library door, and I'm actually going to reposition it a little bit so you get the name better in there, and you can zoom, and it's similar to Canva, if you've ever used Canva for any kind of imaging work. And you can change the typeface, double click. They have a lot of different crazy fonts and things you can use. But really what I like about it is at the top right here, you have your 3 sizes. You have your Pinterest size, your Instagram size, and your Facebook, Twitter size. So with one, image, one program, you can come in here and, in this case, I'm going to focus on the books because we're not going to get the sign in very good. If I go back to Facebook, it makes it the right size for Facebook. And to share, you just click on the bottom and you can go straight to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. You can also send it to Buffer, and you can download it if you want to keep it and use it that way. In my case, I'm going to buffer the image, which it processes, and then it brings up just like we had in Buffer before. And I'm actually only going to post this to Twitter, and I'm going to share it now. So it's sharing and done. So it's really nice because you can create those kind of images and things without having to, go into something else, download it, upload it. It just a nice little feature, another little feature they offer. And we can go to TweetDeck. Actually, I have to get to it this way. When you get to TweetDeck, and we should see it. Let's see. There it is. And if you notice, the other cool thing about that tool is that it actually took the text from our graphic and put it into the text for Twitter. So it saves a lot of time. And, it's nice, cool, fun stuff, easy to use. And I know that's not the primary purpose of this webinar, but it's a part of Buffer, and I've just started using that really in the last few weeks, and it's fun and it works. In terms of moving things around, again, we showed you the calendar view earlier. You can also just drag it here and move things. Just drag and drop. You can also, if you click Edit, you get a full editing window for the particular post. You can change the date and time, replace, put another photo or whatever up, edit the text, whatever you need to do. So any other questions? I think we're close to our hour here.
You have a question there, which is, you mentioned Buffer was online, but I see the app capability in your left-hand window. So the question was, do you have a desktop app version of it or something?
No, I'm not sure.
They might have been referencing the extension that appears in the corner of Chrome, which you featured in the things you were demonstrating, but Terry had indicated, I see it, the app capability in your left-hand window. I'm not certain.
Oh yeah, at the bottom left. Yes, yeah. It's not for your desktop, and thank you for pointing that out, because I was actually going to show this. But they do have it for iOS and Android. There is a Buffer app, so it's not for desktop, but for your mobile devices, you can do it. And you've got your accounts here.
Yeah.
So you can pick your account and go to what you want. And you can also add it in iOS. And I haven't used it for Android, but I bet it's similar. You can also have Buffer added to your share options. So when you are browsing something or have something in anything that can be shared, you can share to Buffer, and it'll open the app up and put it in there. That's a good question. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for everybody who asked questions here today. We've come to the end of a period of time for our webinar. Thank you very much, Kurt, for taking the time to do this with us today.
You're welcome.
And again, as I shared at the beginning, we'll be posting this online up on the Religion Communicators website, which is being overhauled. You're getting some claps in the background there on the chat.
Yay.
The website for Religion Communicators is being overhauled in the next few months, but we will be posting the webinar up on there, and there will be a new segment which will feature this webinar and previous webinars. We do not have our next webinar to announce, but you can stay tuned. We should have one more before the close of the calendar year. Thank you so much.